Alright, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and in this episode we're going to find out if the Nama J2 squeezes out every last drop of juice out of your produce. Alright, my name is John Kohler and I have the company DiscountJuicers.com. I started now 25 years ago. I've been making videos on YouTube regarding juicers and other equipment that allow you to process and eat more fruits and vegetables for the last 15 years. And I'm considered the #1 world's juicer expert. That is self-proclaimed, of course. I have not met anybody else that has more videos than me or has tested more juicers online. Or I've been playing with juicers for the last 28 years since I made dietary changes to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. So one of the things that kind of makes me sad is when I see some influencers online that represent certain companies such as Nama say things that aren't entirely accurate, maybe to get you to buy the juicer, right? And for me, I'm not gonna make up stuff to sell you guys a juicing solution. I don't really care which one you guys buy because I work with all the major manufacturers in the US and have tested and demonstrated their juicers. Of course, this is the ones that want to work with me. Some of them choose not to work with me for whatever reason. And my goal at Discount Juicers when I started the company was to get you guys always the lowest price on the juicers and other equipment I offer. And I'm still doing that today. If you guys want to get the hookup deal price on the Nama J2, make sure you use that coupon code SIMPLE10 at namawell.com. That'll save you guys $55 off the Nama J2 juicer. Now, when you guys use that coupon code, not only will you save $55, but Nama will share with me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and tell you guys the truth instead of trying to blow smoke up your butt like some other influencers do, in my personal opinion. I just want the truth out there. I try to show the juicers and the different juicing options you have to show with you guys which one may be best for you. I demonstrate and compare even amounts of produce using different juicers, and in some cases, yes, the Nama J2 absolutely wins. In some other cases, more rare cases, it doesn't win, right? I will say that the Nama J2 does make a good solid yield, and for a slow auger juicer, it is actually one of the best. That being said, there are better single auger juicers out there if yield is the most important to you. And that's the thing. Juicing is so nuanced. And it's not always one juicer is always going to be best. Now, one juicer may be best in a certain category, like I will say the Nama J2 is the easiest juicer that I've tested to use. That makes the highest yield, for that matter. But there are other juicers that will make a higher yield, despite some other influencers saying statements like it squeezes every drop out and the pulp is so dry, right? Sometimes people always say that the Nama J2 makes dry pulp, but then I read in comments that people will comment and say, I got the Nama J2 and the pulp isn't dry. So here's the thing, dryness of the pulp is subjective, it's not objective, unless you're using the pure juicer, which is a $2,500 juicer, and that makes the pulp dry, I guarantee it. That being said, on the Nama J2, the pulp wetness is dependent on many factors, right? The produce you're juicing, for example, cucumbers that are soft are going to make a more wet pulp than a cucumber like an English cucumber that's more hard and firm. It's going to make a little bit more dry pulp, although that pulp will still be wet compared to something like if you're juicing wheatgrass, and yes, the Nama J2 can juice wheatgrass. If you follow my tips below in the video, how I juice a whole flat of wheatgrass in the Nama J2. So it's totally dependent. It's not always this or that. And of course, some juicers will get the more pulp more dry on a regular and consistent basis. And that is my goal with this video, to show you guys, honestly, that the J2 does not get the pulp bone dry like some influencers would lead you to believe, so that you buy the juicer with their coupon code, thus them getting commission. And in many cases, they may not even tell you that, you know, they get a small commission when you use their coupon code. I'm straightforward with you guys and let you guys know, hey, if you use my coupon code, you save $55 and Nama will share with me a small commission. So I'd encourage you guys to reward me if you appreciate my work and share with you guys the truth about juicers, instead of people, in my personal opinion, that are maybe trying to pull wool over your eyes, and or maybe they're just uneducated, or maybe they haven't used all the different juicers in the world like I have. And I haven't even used all the juicers in the world. I've used a lot of them though. So in this episode, we're going to do a head-to-head comparison against two different juicing styles. Number one, we are using the Nama J2, and to be honest with you guys, this is my favorite juicer. I use this 90% of the time when I am juicing at home. The other 10% of the time, I may use something like vacuum juicing, which I'll be sharing with you guys today in the video. I may use a Santa 727 single auger horizontal juicer if I'm juicing mostly greens. And if I'm juicing expensive root vegetables like turmeric, I may use the Green Star Pro, or I may actually use vacuum juicing like I am today. And why do I choose different juicers? Because it depends on that specific moment in time, what is important to me. In most cases, time is of the essence, and I want to be able to crank out a lot of juice in a short amount of time, and that's when I'm going to use the Nama J2. All during the pandemic, when there wasn't as much things to do, while I did use the Nama J2, most of the time actually, I did use the vacuum juicing that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Why? Because it gets the highest yield and highest nutritional quality. While yes, the Nama does make a high yield, does get the pulp fairly dry depending on what you're doing, there are machines that'll get the pulp even drier and squeeze every last drop out of the pulp, like the vacuum juicing method will today. And actually the vacuum juicing method that I'm using today uses only two things. It uses a standard traditional blender, and it uses a special vacuum lid that we'll be talking about in a minute. And actually you could buy both these, links down below in the description, to buy both these for actually less than the price of the Nama J2. That being said, what you will see in this video, while it does make a higher yield, drier pulp, more nutrition in the juice, it is also a lot more work. This is the way and the method of juicing that will require the most work for you, but it will give you the most reward because it's going to give you the highest quality juice and the most yield to get the pulp bone dry. And that's why I did this method during the pandemic, because food was a bit more difficult to get, and if I got some, I was feeling lucky that I had food, and I wanted to get out every last drop of produce to support my body with all the different phytonutrients, vitamins and minerals, structured water in the produce that I was buying during that time. So what camp are you in? Do you just want it easy, or do you want it to be a little bit more, you don't care how difficult it is, and to get the most yield and most nutrition? And that's what I'm going to share with you guys in this episode, is how both of these different juicing methods work, and share with you guys the whole process so that you guys can be empowered, instead of just saying, oh, the Nama just makes the driest pulp, right? Which is easy. Words are easy. Making a video such as this, where I'm weighing out our produce, cutting everything meticulously to make sure I have 2 even batches, and getting my video editor to edit this and take hours out of my day to film this, is a lot more work, guys. So if you guys are, whatever solution you end up with, I would encourage you guys to use my links down below. And then, the respective companies will share with me a small commission so I can continue to make these honest review demonstration videos for you guys, so that you guys know the truth and you guys can make an informed decision versus an uninformed decision. That is actually one of the most important things to me. All right, so anyways, on with this video. So on this side, we have the Nama J2 juicer. This has a full 15-year warranty on the motor body and juicing parts, in part thanks to me, because formerly it was only a 2-year warranty on the parts, but Nama has recently made that longer to 15 years. And this is known as a vertical single auger hopper style juicer. What that means is it has this whole top piece that you can just pop up and pop this lid up, and you can actually load up this hopper with 2 liters of produce approximately. So you cut up produce, put it in there. You could put produce in there whole, but then you can't systematically fit it in there as much, because now there's a lot more airspace not being used up. And what happens is, as the machine is running, there's a processing blade in the top of this unit here. If you guys can see that I'm spinning it around a little bit with my hand. That processing blade further cuts up to some extent the produce, and then the other thing it does, it actually feeds in produce into the machine at a slow and steady rate, so that the machine generally does not clog, jam, or back up on you, provided you pre-cut the items you put in sufficiently. You know, this is one of the biggest challenges with the standard vertical auger juicer before the hopper-based design, and not all hopper-based designs have gotten this right. I've seen hopper-based designs that maybe try to feed in things too quickly, maybe too slowly, and it's just not optimized to work. Whereas the Nama J2, in my opinion, has gotten this optimized to work the best way possible. Once everything gets chopped up, it drops down this little hole right here and then goes in to this auger mechanism here. So there's a vertical single auger because it is running vertically. It's a single auger because there's only one, and this basically rotates around, and as the produce goes in the auger, it basically gets chunked off into little pieces, and as the auger is spinning inside this juicing screen right here, the produce is basically ground up between the auger and the screen into a smaller and smaller space, and literally the produce is pressed and squeezed out between the auger and the juicing screen. The juice comes out of the juicing screen into the juicing bowl, which then comes out right, the little spout right there, and then the pulp is directed out this little bottom hole of the screen, which then goes into this little hole here, which then goes out the pulp side. So this machine separates the juice from the fiber that feeds you, and that's what I learned from Jay Kordich many years ago, formerly known as the Juice Man. And then of course, to top it off, they have a wiping blade that then goes on the outside of the juicing screen that is spinning around as you are juicing, and this basically wipes off all the juice out of the juicing screen and basically funnels it down out of the juicer for you. Now, the amazing thing about this juicer is that this machine runs at 50 revolutions per minute. That's RPMs. Some high-speed juicers could run in excess of 10,000 RPMs, and some people would lead you to believe that those high-speed machines create more heat in your juice, and I would say that's not accurate based on my testing, linked down below, because I did video testing the heat produced when juicing, when using a slow juicer such as this, and when using a high-speed juicer. Now, while it does not create heat, what it does do, it does oxygenate the juice. So the higher the RPM, the more revolutions per minute, the more air is being bombarded into the juice, and the more the different oxygen-sensitive nutrients, such as vitamins and certain polyphenols, can react with the oxygen, and then the nutrition can be lowered as the nutrients are basically oxidized and transformed. So that is the main benefit of the Nama J2 design. It runs at a low RPM. Because it's a low RPM, it minimizes the oxygen. That being said, if you want to minimize oxygen more and you're hardcore, you're going to remove the wiping blade, because this wiping blade actually adds a little bit of foam into the juice. Even worse, if you have this running and you have the spout cap down, and now this is running and the juice is spinning around inside the bowl, that's going to further aerate the juice, lowering the quality by, small amounts, in my opinion. I see a lot of people when I watch YouTube videos with people juicing the Nama, they leave their spout cap down, let this fill up because it looks cool. And then they open this up and all the juice rushes out. I do not recommend you guys do that. I don't see a functional use of spinning your juice around inside the bowl unless maybe you're making a nut milk. I always let the juice drain out and leave the spout cap open. And I only close the spout cap when I'm done juicing so there's no drips on the countertop. All right? So that is how the Nama J2 juicer works. Now you're thinking, John, you got a blender over there. This is a Blendtec blender. Blenders are for blending. How can you make a juice in it? Yeah, so, there's many videos on basically blending up the produce in the blender and then putting it through a nut milk bag or a sieve and squeezing it out, right? I'm not going to recommend you guys do that. Why? Well, they say, oh, blenders can heat stuff up. And yes, if you blend it long enough, 2 minutes, it's going to heat it up for sure. A lot more than a juicer running at 50 revolutions per minute. Because the blender runs at, 20,000 plus revolutions per minute, which is exceedingly fast, right? So I do not recommend standard traditional blending for blending up your produce and then straining it out however you're going to do that. Because all the vortex that's inside the blender is like a tornado, right? Tornadoes do destructive damage to different houses, and when you're basically aerating the juice, ultra aerating the juice, the blender will aerate your juice even more than a high-speed juicer, because at least the high-speed juicer, the blades hit the produce, it flung out and the juice comes out instantly and then the pulp is kicked out, whereas this, it's just continually adding more air, more air, more air every revolution it runs. So there's a lot more aeration going on inside a traditional blender. Now you're thinking, John, why would you recommend that if that's the worst way to juice? Because it does the most aeration, the most damage to the oxygen sensitive nutrients. Well, that's because I'm not going to recommend traditional blending where you blend in an oxygen rich environment. I'm only going to recommend vacuum blending where you blend in an oxygen deprived environment. So what I have here is, while I do have a Blendtec blender, and some of these can be found as low as $250, maybe even less if you find a refurbished unit, I have a special lid on the top. This is called the Void Systems vacuum lid. That's because they are removing the void inside the chamber. They're basically sucking all the excess oxygen out of the chamber before you blend, so you don't get the negative effect of the oxidative damage. So even though the Nama J2 is running at 50 RPMs, this is running at 20,000 plus RPMs. You're doing it in a negative oxygen atmosphere because you've removed the excess oxygen with the vacuum pump. And that is truly what makes the difference. So I could clearly say, that the Blendtec blender with the vacuum system lid by Void will make a higher quality juice than any slow juicer, because every slow juicer includes the oxygen even if it is running at a lower RPM. This is excluding the oxygen because it is done under vacuum, and that is the primary difference. In addition, the other primary difference that I'll show you guys at the end is that the blender is a much more efficient grinder than the juicer. So on this machine, it takes the auger grinding the produce up between the ribs of the juicing screen to grind things up into a smaller particle size, and then the pulp gets kicked out. While this is running at a low and slow 50 RPM, so there is some circulation of the produce and it gets ground up smaller before it's ejected, there are still, more larger chunks of produce that are being kicked out that are still moist. Whereas in the vacuum blender, right, this blade is doing multiple hits on the produce to get it finer and finer, to get it to a really smoothie-like consistency, so it's blowing open more cell walls than the slow juicer, extracting more nutrition, making it available. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, when you blend stuff up, man, you're making a smoothie because you still got the fiber, and I could have a whole nother video that I'm gonna hopefully have pretty soon about the pros and cons to the fiber that is in smoothies versus the fiber in juices. When you guys juice, you keep the soluble fiber that is soluble in water, but you remove the insoluble fiber, right? When you make a smoothie, you're keeping the soluble and insoluble fiber, and it is true. Fiber of all kinds are very important for the human body. I do not recommend living on juices. I like to drink a juice or two a day, which is a quart or 2 quarts a day. And then I eat plenty of other foods, as well as make vacuum blended smoothies and eat salads, eat fresh fruits, eat soups, eat, instant pot cooked vegetables to get all my fiber other times of the day, but not when I'm juicing. The benefit of juicing, by removing some of the fiber, our body has a much easier time to extract the nutrients out of the juice, because a lot of the digestion is done for us. Because our body, if you think about it, we take whole food in, and out one side of us comes the liquid and the other side of us comes the solid waste, and our body has extracted nutrition, and that's what the juicer is doing. It's basically making it a lot easier for your body to extract the nutrients from the produce that you end up juicing. In addition, when you do that, studies have shown that carrot juice, for example, will have higher levels of beta-carotene in your blood, resulting in higher levels of beta-carotene in your blood than, say, eating carrots would, because your body is much more easily able to assimilate the nutrients from the juice form instead of the whole food form. And in addition, it gets in there faster, and you could have higher levels of these plant phytonutrients that can be very beneficial for healing and disease prevention based on the science that I've seen. That being said, you know, when we're blending, we're making a smoothie, but to remove the extra solids, I'm going to recommend you guys get these. These are the best I've found on the market. Yes, you could use a regular nut milk bag, or you could use like an old pantyhose, or people have used pillowcases, or even put the produce or put the blended mixture in a old t-shirt and wring it out. Like, I recommend guys using the right tool for the right job. That's something my grandfather told me when I was a kid. And this is the right tool for the right job. I've tested many different kinds of nut bags, nut milk bags, to make juice, and this is the best by far for many different reasons. This is called the Alexa's bags, and it's the only BPA safe certified juicing bag and nut milk bag. This is heat welded in the USA, no string attached, so no harborage points. It's designed by an Alpha 71 engineers. It gets the highest yields. Really simple and easy to use, just using your hands. You don't need to buy any expensive kind of press. It is also oversized, which is something I like a lot, and the pore size of the holes is the perfect size so that it's still easy to clean but gets the highest amount of juice, and it'll extract more of the pigments such as in the phytonutrients than something like using a Norwalk juicer with that fine cloth that has a lot smaller pore size. Now that's the main difference, and that's why I use Alexa's bags. So yeah, so between both these, right, you could actually get the Blendtec Vacuum Blender set up for less. You will have to buy this separately, link down below, to get the Void Systems kit. I think I got the coupon code DJ20 for a $20 off on the Void Systems lid that you can fit on any Blendtec blender. They also have a kit for the Vitamix if you already own a Vitamix. That being said, the kit for the Vitamix includes this lid and their own carafe, which is approximately 48 ounces. If you guys do want to do the vacuum juicing, while you could use the smaller carafe and do smaller portion sizes for best optimal vacuum juicing, I recommend using the largest carafe possible, and that's why I love the Blendtec. They have this wild side carafe, which basically is like a 90-ounce carafe, so it holds lots of produce, so you could actually make more juice in one fall swoop. Right? So let's go ahead and assemble the Nama J2. Show you guys how to assemble it. It's very important. Number one, you need to assemble it off the base. Don't put it on top and then start assembling. It's not going to assemble properly. So first, we're going to take the automatic wiping blade and the juicing screen and put them together. There's then these like little outcroppings. There's a big side and a small side. We're just going to line this up with a bowl and drop it in. We're going to go ahead and put the auger, drop it in place, spin it around. We're going to go ahead and then take the top set, and we're going to line up the outcropping of the top set with the outcropping of the top set, and then put it to the left, and then spin this in place so the outcropping is fully in line. If this is not in line, the machine will not turn on. One of the big problems I see with many people, even if they're well-to-do, they put the outcropping on the back side and it's not lining up with the outcropping on the bottom, and the machine will not turn on due to built-in safety switch. Very important to assemble it properly. And of course, we're just going to go ahead and put the lid on the top and put the unit on top of the base. And if you've assembled it properly, you can turn the machine on. Now this does run at a low and slow 50 revolutions per minute. One of the main benefits of this is that it is quite quiet, and it's not going to wake up your kids or family members, roommates, when they're sleeping in the morning if you get up early to start juicing. Meanwhile, over on the Blendtec, you just put the carafe on the unit, you take the lid, you put the lid on the machine, and the most important thing about this lid is that it has batteries built in. So a lot of vacuum blending solutions have a separate vacuum pump and all these other kind of contraptions. I like this lid because it is really streamlined. It does have a 3-year warranty, and of course the warranty in your Blendtec will be whatever Blendtec is offering. Some models have shorter warranties than others. I think their standard warranty is like 7 or 8 years. Anyways, we're just going to go ahead and press the on button, and this turns on, and we have it preset to a 17. And all you're going to do is press the go button, and you guys can hear dual motors come on inside the lid. It has cordless recharging. Dual motors are coming on, and they're basically sucking all the excess oxygen out of the carafe, out of this little port right there. And you guys can see it's already up to 10, 11, 12. It's going to go up to 17 and then cut itself off. And then during the blending now when it gets to 17, that's when you're going to blend. And then during the blending process, if it should dip down lower than 17, the vacuum pumps will kick on to get it back down to 17 to ensure you have a full vacuum at all times on your mixture when blending, whether you're vacuum juicing like I am today, or whether you're just making smoothies or soups in your blender. This is a lid I recommend for the Blendtec. As you guys can see, it hit 17 and now it's shut off, and now you're ready to blend. It'll come on occasionally to keep that number at 17. Alright, so now that you saw how each unit is assembled, I guess the next thing we're going to do in this episode is we're actually going to be doing juicing today. We're going to juice even amounts of pineapple, cucumber with a little bit of ginger to see if the Nama J2 gets the pulp really dry. Some influencers say the Nama J2 is best for juicing things like pineapple and cucumber. And I will say that the Nama J2 and vertical auger juicers in general are better for juicing fruits and fruity type vegetables such as cucumber. It's very important to buy the most hard and firm cucumbers and pineapples and other fruits to juice. Some slow juicers such as twin gears or even horizontal auger juicers don't tend to juice the fruits as well. And high-speed juicers, while they can juice fruits, kick out a lot of wet pulp. Link down below to my video where I compare the Nama J2 against the Breville, and actually when I rejuiced the Breville pulp in the Nama J2, I think I made like 40% more juice. Alright, so as you guys can see, we're all set up and ready to juice, but first let's go ahead and get a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, let's go ahead and do the weigh-in over on the Blendtec side with the vacuum juicing. Looks like we got 1710 on the scale. We got cut up cucumbers, pineapple, and a little bit of ginger. And then over on the side of the Nama J2, looks like also we got 1710. And once again, the same pineapples, cucumbers, and ginger. Let's go ahead and get a readout on both scales for you guys. Should be able to see both scales where we got 1710. So we definitely have a fair fight. So let's go ahead and get the scales out of the way. And I think I'll be juicing today first in the Nama J2 because it will be more simple for sure than the vacuum juicing, which takes a lot more work. So the main thing I love about the Nama J2 is that you can just pour all the produce in the machine and get juicing. So we will be timing the whole process from the time it takes to start pouring everything in, turning the machine on, and then until the time it's completely done. Now the main thing about the Nama J2, unlike other machines, is once you fill up this hopper, you can literally walk away and let the machine do all the work without you. That is really where the money is on the Nama J2. If you want to juice and have an automatic assistant doing your juicing for you, that is the Nama J2. It could basically blow through a whole hopper produce, juicing on its own without you having to do any intervention, usually in under about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what kind of produce you put in there. Things like watermelon can be done more quickly in 3 minutes, and things like carrots may take a little bit more closer or a little bit more than 5 minutes if you fill up this entire hopper. In any case, let's go ahead and hit the start button. See how long the Nama J2 will take. Let's see if we can pour all this produce into the hopper. All right, my hopper's overflowing and I couldn't fit everything in, so we're just gonna go ahead and start this unit up, turn it on, and this is the amazing thing about the Nama J2. It creates juice without you. I am using a sieve today to strain out the juice to show you guys how much pulp is put in the juice, because when you're vacuum juicing, basically there's zero pulp in the juice, and I know that may be a consideration for some people. You need a pulp-free juice. The vacuum juicing is the better way to go. As this machine runs, the pulp is kicked out as it is juiced and the level goes down. So we're just going to go ahead and add this into the top as it's running. Alright, that's all the produce in the J2. Now we just need to let the juicer do all the work, and actually, I'm going to get up and walk away. Alright, so I want to give you guys an update on what's going on. We're currently at about 4.5 minutes, and we have produce being spun around the top of the machine, but there's juices dripping out ever so slowly, but pulp is pretty much stopped moving out. So sometimes when this happens, the produce is not dropping down in the machine because it is too sticky or wet or maybe too soft. So today I was juicing softer pineapples with more firm cucumbers, and if I had had some carrots or jicama up to this recipe, it'd be basically dropping in the machine better. So maybe I'm going to try to open this lid and try to finagle it down to kind of get it all to go in more effectively. Now, depending on your recipe, right, it usually empties with no issues whatsoever, but if you're using extremely soft items like overripe fruits, for example, right, this can happen. So I want you guys to be fully aware of what happens. I mean, it's not always perfect, you know, things are always going to come up. All right, so I keep screwing around with the Nama J2, and obviously it really doesn't want to give me too much more juice, so we're just going to go ahead and stop the timer. And we're at 9 minutes and 47 seconds. I estimate if I would have gotten proper, you know, firm produce such as pineapples and pre-cut the core up into small pieces like I recommend, then it would have worked a lot more seamlessly and probably been done in about maybe 5 minutes. But once again, it depends on your quality of produce you're using. The more hard and firm it is, the better it'll work. And if something like this happened when I was juicing on my own, I would just cut up a piece of jicama or put a couple carrots in there, and then basically it would work without an issue. But because I am doing a juicing comparison today, I don't want to change the recipe or what I'm doing. And you know, I'm going to show you guys what exactly happens, because this may happen to you. So I want you guys to be aware of it. So in many cases, the Nama J2 does operate flawlessly. In this case, not so much. But now you know why too, so this does not happen to you. Number one, buy firmest produce as possible, especially when juicing fruits or watery, fruity vegetables such as cucumbers, tomatoes, and bell peppers. Right? Number two, add in cubed up pieces of jicama or just pieces of carrot or other root vegetable. It'll help the softer stuff juice much better. All right, next up, let's go ahead and juice in the Blendtec with void system lid to do vacuum juicing. Hit the start button there, and the simple process for this is we're going to take off the lid and we're just going to dump in all the pre-cut produce into the carafe. All right, once we got all the produce in there, we're just going to go ahead and put the void system's vacuum lid on the top. Make sure we have a nice, good, strong seal at the top, very important. We're going to go ahead and turn this unit on. Comes up, and we're just going to go ahead and press the go button. As you guys can hear, the dual vacuum pumps are coming on, and it's removing the excess oxygen out of the carafe. It's already up to 11. When you first activate it, it'll test the seal to make sure you're fully sealed properly, so that there are no leaks, so you have a good vacuum every time you blend with the void system's lid. Up to 17 already. And now we're just going to go ahead and pulse the blender. We're going to basically pulse it until everything drops in and starts to blend, and then we're going to blend it on high speed. Alright, let's blend it on high speed. Alright, once we blend it up sufficiently, didn't even take that long, we're only at 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and get out Alexa's bag and put it over a 2-quart Anchor Hawking bowl there. We're going to shut off the vacuum lid top, and we're going to go ahead and lift off the lid here. And top all the stuff off the lid into the bag here. And we're just going to go ahead and put now our smoothie into the bag, right? This is a nice consistency. It's broken down really well. Sometimes I'll take a spatula and spatula this out, and sometimes I'll just tap it down to make sure I get every last bit of blended mixture into my bag. And now the fun part, I mean, this is the manual labor you guys can see with the Nama. Pretty much you got to pre-cut the produce, put it in there, turn it on, you could walk away. There's no labor involved. With this, you know, it's definitely a bit more messy, but it's more rewarding at the same time, because this method is absolutely the best method to juice fruits and watery fruits and vegetables, right? Such as the pineapple and cucumber. That's why I wanted to show this today, to show you guys the contrast between the two methods, right? Using any juicer, unless it's a pure juicer, is not going to be the best for juicing things like fruits. This method is the best method, because juicers with mechanical motors and screens have a very challenging time dealing with softer pulp. All right, I think I'm done squeezing all the juice out. Definitely took a little bit of time. Let's take a look and see where we're at. Alright, so basically this process was literally a hands-on process. I gotta, wash my hands here. But it took 7 minutes. So in 7 minutes, definitely made a lot more juice than the Nama J2. Let's go ahead and compare to see how much juice each juicer was able to make. Alright, so let's go ahead and compare the juices. As you guys can see, the Blendtec with Void Systems lid made a lot of juice. And let's go ahead and use the same collection bowl to see how much juice the Nama J2 juicer made. In addition, the Nama J2 juicer definitely made a little bit of pulp in the juice, but on the Blendtec vacuum juicing, we use a Lexus bag that basically puts zero detectable pulp in the juice because the holes of the press juicing bag are a lot smaller than in the juicing screen or even this little sieve. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a close-up on the yields for you guys. Let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up. As you guys can see, the vacuum juicing produced the most yield. We're right up about 6 cups of juice, whereas the almighty Nama, who some claim will make the driest pulp and make the most juice, is only at 4.33 cups of juice. You guys could clearly see the difference. And of course, in the Nama, there's leftover pulp that was not able to get juiced because it wouldn't feed into the auto feed mechanism because the produce was too soft. Next up, I want to do a taste test of the juices for you guys. I didn't point out that actually the Blendtec juice actually has some air bubbles in the top, whereas I'm not seeing hardly any air bubbles in the Nama J2. The air bubbles generally will get caught by the sieve. For the most part, there are a few here, but there's none in the strained out juice, which is actually quite impressive. Well, when you vacuum blend, you're not really introducing that much oxygen, but when I am squeezing it out, some oxygen definitely gets in the juice. That being said, I do recommend using a vacuum pump and vacuum storage lids, whether you use a Nama J2 or vacuum juicing, to suck out the excess oxygen, dissolved oxygen out of the juice before storing, as well as the oxygen in the headspace of your mason jars. Links down below to my Amazon store where I have my recommended vacuum pumps and vacuum mason jar lids that I recommend. Alright, so first we're going to go ahead and try the Nama J2 juice. Coming right up, cucumber, pineapple, a little bit of ginger. It's a nice clean juice. Really tasting the ginger in there. I mean, that's a good juice. I have nothing to compare it against. Next, let's go ahead and check out the vacuum juice. I will say in this case, the vacuum juice looks a little bit more deeper, richer color. And that is, in my belief, because it pulled out more nutrition because everything was pulverized. All the cell walls were blown open. This maybe has more of a green tinge because the cucumber skin tends to be green, which the pigments were pulled out in this juice, whereas in the Nama, the juicer was not as effective pulling out the green pigments out of the cucumbers. All right, taste the second juice, vacuum juice. Wow. This juice, guys, tastes a lot stronger to me. Like the flavors just really hit you because more nutrition was extracted in the mixture and then wrung out. And that's what I'm tasting. So I'm really tasting the strongness of the ginger as well as more of the bitterness from the cucumber skins. Interestingly enough, this juice was not quite as bitter, although I still did taste the ginger. Interesting. So clearly vacuum juicing made more juice. According to my calculations, there's about 38% more juice that the vacuum juicing made than the Nama J2. Next, what I want to do for you guys is actually we're going to go ahead and compare the pulp that was generated by each of the machines. So we got the Nama J2 pulp in the catch bin coming right out right there. But more importantly, we got a little bit of the pulp in the sieve because that was technically a waste product also. And then finally, we have a little bit of juice left in the juicer. But more importantly, I want to show you guys what was left in the juicer in this case. Once again, this is an exception to the rule. This rarely ever happens to me because I properly plan the recipes to include some jicama, which maybe I should have did this time, but I want to show you guys the truth about what happens when you juice, you know, standard cucumbers and some softer pineapples in the Nama J2 that some influencer says this is the best juicer for those ingredients, right? Definitely not this time. You guys can see there's a lot of extra pulp stuck in the top of the machine that we'll then push out because it was never actually juiced because it was too soft, right? Once again, for softer fruits, vacuum juicing is the way. Things are very nuanced in juicers. There's not always one approach that would be best. It really depends on you. Now, in addition, aside from the pulp in the juicer top, we have a lot of pulp left in the juicing apparatus. So once again, when you're done juicing, there'll always be some pulp left in the machine. Depending on your specific recipe, there'll be more or less. So for example, if you're using softer, mushy things, there's gonna be a lot more in here. But if you're using something like 100% carrots, there's gonna be less particulate when you're done juicing. In this case, because it was soft stuff, there's a lot more in here. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this out, full disclosure on for you guys. Show you guys what is left inside all the pulp that did not get bone dry like some influencers would like you to believe when you buy the Nama J2. Right? I don't want to set your guys' expectations too high. I want to set realistic expectations and show you guys the truth. It's very important to me. Of course, there'll be some stuff left on inside the screen. So we're just going to go ahead and scrape this out as well. All right, looking at the juicing screen, part of the reason why things were not ejecting out and may not work as well is because some of the pineapple fibers got stuck in the outlet port because we were juicing, once again, softer items. So I did want to let you guys know that. And then as you guys can see, we have a little bit of juice left inside here. We'll pour in there. And this area is relatively clean. All right, so this is all the pulp from the Nama J2. Let's go ahead and see how much pulp was left from the vacuum juicing method. I just basically tip this bag over and then I flick it and then the pulp basically drops out. All right, we got as much of the pulp as we could out as possible. There's still some like ground in pulp that I'll just spray down with a hose and get this clean later on. But look at this, guys. This is completely amazing. Look at the difference in pulp, right? Is this pulp sawdust dry? I mean, I would say definitely it's not super dry. I mean, I would say that the vacuum juicing pulp, I mean, this stuff, I can't squeeze an iota of juice out, right? This is dry pulp, guys. And in this case, not with the Nama J2, right? Once again, depends what you are specifically juicing, right? But in all cases, vacuum juicing will blow away any other juicing style. But as you guys can see, it's a lot more hands-on work, getting your hands literally dirty. And that's the main benefit of the Nama J2. You don't get your hands dirty. You cut up some produce, you put it in there, shut the lid, you walk away. None of your input is required. If I would have used maybe a little bit more smaller pre-cut pieces of pineapple with that's more firm cucumbers and some jicama or carrots in the recipe, it would have worked a lot better. That being said, let's see how much juice is still left in this pulp because we're going to use the vacuum juicing technique to basically get more juice out of the Nama J2 pulp. So we're just going to go ahead and drop all this pulp in the blender and we're going to see if we can get it to blend up, and then we're going to go ahead and see if we can press out more juice. All right, all the pulp's in there. Let's go ahead and put the vacuum lid on. All right, let's go ahead and blend this up. All right, we got that mixture all blended up, and let's go ahead and once again remove the vacuum. Down to freshness and take off the vacuum lid. All right, so for this pulp here, it's quite thick. Oh, it'll fall out a little bit. But we're just going to go ahead and use a spatula to get every last bit out. All right, we got all the pulp out. And now the moment of truth, let's see if we can squeeze any liquid out of the Nama J2 pulp with the bag. Look at that. We got juice squeezing out, man. All right, so I think I got it all squeezed out. I got the pulp super dry here. Let's go ahead and see what kind of pulp we got now. Once again, this is the pulp out of the vacuum juicing the first time. And now the pulp out of the Nama J2 that we then pressed out with the Alexa's bag through the vacuum juicing method. And as you guys can see, the pulp is pretty much as dry as the first time. So clearly, guys, I mean, this is the method you want to use if you want the pulp as dry as possible, not to waste any produce. We made approximately 14 ounces more of juice by pressing out the pulp, right? So I think we had like 4 and 0.33 cups originally, and then we pressed out 1.75 more cups of juice out of the Nama J2, when in the first place we could have just used a vacuum juicing technique to make all the juice the first time without hassling with the pulp that is still a little bit wet. Once again, I want to say your mileage may vary, right? You select hard, firm pineapple that's hecka hard and put some carrots or jicama in the Nama J2 in the mixture. As I dumped it all in, it would have worked a lot better and the pulp would have been a little bit more dry. That being said, the Nama is a slow juicer. All slow juicers are not 100% efficient. They will leave juice in the pulp, right? Depending on your recipe, it'll be either more or less, right? That being said, the vacuum juicing method, aside from the pure juicer, once again, a $2,500 juicer will get the pulp drier, and especially when juicing fruits, right? So juicing is so nuanced, and I want you guys to have the best information so that you don't have the wool pull over your eyes, so that you know what you're getting. Now here's the thing, I'm going to sum up at the end of this episode, right? So at the end of this episode, I have to declare a winner like I do every single time. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to say the Nama J2 one or the Blendtec blender with the vacuum void systems vacuum lid, so I could do vacuum juicing one. And honestly, guys, I have to tell you guys the truth. In this test, vacuum juicing made 38% more juice. And it is just a better method to juice fruits, right? If you're juicing straight fruits, especially softer ones, it's always going to perform better under vacuum juicing than any slow juicer for that matter. That being said, I will also tell you guys, although I know the vacuum juicing makes the highest yield and more nutrition quality, pulls out more nutrients out of the juice, because it leaves the pulp indistinguishable. You can't really even see the fibers. Whereas if I showed you before the Nama J2 Pulp, there's larger chunks. Cell walls were not entirely broken open. That being said, it's a hands-on process where you're literally squeezing juice out. I know some of you guys don't mind some manual labor. Maybe you're retired and you have the time to do this and you want every last drop. So by all means, do this vacuum juicing method. For a lot of you guys got kids, you guys got to work, you guys got to do a lot of things, and you don't want to sit there and squeeze out all your juice. So then what you're going to do is you're going to get a Nama J2 juicer so that you have an easy time. You can load it and walk away and go. Make sure your recipe is designed properly with some carrots or jicama in there. That'll help all that softer stuff juice more easily. Also, make sure you select hard and firm fruits. I gotta say that. And then cut up the pineapple core as well as the ginger that has strings. And recently another customer had challenges with juicing carrot tops, which are actually quite fibrous. So things that are fibrous like kale, collard greens, all the different greens, celery, ginger, and pineapple core should be pre-cut into smaller pieces. I'd recommend at least minimum 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch for definitely problem-free juicing in the Nama J2. And, that's the best way to do it. So, know this. That's why I make these videos, because I want to show you guys the pros and the cons of each machine and how to navigate around them so that you guys can get the exact juice you want. If you want the most nutrition, guys, don't buy the Nama J2, and you're not going to hear that on a lot of other channels that promote the Nama J2. If you want the absolute highest yield, don't buy the Nama J2. It's not going to make the highest yield, right? But the vacuum juicing method will. But it's a hands-on. You're going to have to get a little bit dirty. You're going to make a mess, but you're going to get the most yield and the highest nutrition. That being said, a lot of you guys don't really care about the highest nutrition or most yield. You're good at with a good amount of nutrition, right? Near the top, but not the top. You're good with sacrificing and having the pulp a little bit dry, right? But you don't want to do the hands-on work, man. You want to just load it up, close the lid, walk away, and go, right? That's where the Nama J2 comes in, guys. It's a compromise between the best and most juice, highest quality, for a very high quality juice, a very respectable yield compared to other juicers of its style that I've compared them all to, right? makes a high quality juice, and it's easy. That's the thing, guys. The Nama J2 is easy and simple to use. So after watching this episode, if you guys are going to choose a Nama J2, because now you're fully informed and now know the ins and outs, the pros and cons, right? Please use my coupon code. We'll throw it right there, simple10 at namaweld.com. That'll save you guys 10% off on the Nama J2 juicer. That's $55. When you guys use that coupon code, Nama will share with me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational, truthful videos for you guys, showing you guys the exact results you guys are going to get and cutting through all the marketing fluff that you may hear on other YouTube channels. That being said, maybe some of you guys now know that, man, vacuum juicing, John, is the way. Nobody else online talks about it except for me, because I learned about this from Tom Dixon, the inventor of the Blendtec and original owner of the Blendtec Corporation. And he showed me about vacuum juicing, and when I vacuum juiced, compared it against a slow juicer in his office in Utah, near Salt Lake City, I was blown away. I'm like, I drank the vacuum juiced celery that I made, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this celery juice tastes better than any slow juicer I've used in the past. And then I thought, I'm in trouble because I've been selling juicers all these years, and what am I going to do now? Start promoting blenders? And then I thought, you know what? You got to tell the truth, John, and just show people the truth and show them what is truthful so that they could be empowered and make the decision that is right for you, right? And that's why I have this channel. That's why I make these videos. And if you guys are going to get the Nama, use that coupon code. If you guys want to get the Blendtec, right, I got a link down below to buy the Blendtec at the best price I found with a warranty as well as a Void Systems lid you can get at void-systems.com. Make sure you use that coupon code DJ20 for $20 off your Void Systems kit, whether you're buying just the lid for the Blendtec or whether you're getting that kit for the Vitamix that will fit your Vitamix, so now you can vacuum blend and vacuum juice in your Vitamix. Once again, Void Systems will give you $20 off and also share a commission with me so I can continue my work to make these educational videos. And of course, you couldn't do vacuum juicing without the world's best vacuum juicing bags, which you guys can buy at alexasbags.com. I haven't negotiated a coupon for you guys because these guys are already rock bottom price, welded in the United States, full 1-year replacement guarantee that I don't know anybody that had to get the free 1-year replacement, because these things just don't wear out, guys. Just wash them right after you're done. It's basically $25 for 2 of them, including shipping at this time. And of course, when you guys buy an Alexis Bags at alexasbags.com, they're going to share with me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and share with you guys the truth about juicing, as well as vacuum blending and vacuum juicing like I did today. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, hey, please be sure, guys, to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, please be sure to leave a comment down below. Which juicing style did you like? Did you know that the vacuum juicing was going to produce more than the Nama J2, or were you one of the people that thought, oh, the Nama J2 is the best, it makes the driest pulp because other influencers say so, right? Also, be sure to share this video with other people that are considering buying the Nama J2 so that they could learn about the vacuum juicing process and how much more efficient and more juice they can make, but also how much more work they'll have to do to get it. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss my new upcoming episodes of Command Ready 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what new juicer appliances or other appliances I'll be sharing with you guys or comparing so that you guys can be more effective in eating more fruits and vegetables and other plant foods in your life and eating them in the healthiest ways possible. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as any videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge, over 700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about the different juicers and extraction technologies and other products that can allow you to eat more plant foods in the best way as possible. I'll put links down below to other videos I've made with vacuum juicing. I normally would use a Dynapro vacuum blender that you still can use those. Links down below to that, as well as I made other juicers comparing the Nama J2 against twin gear juicers, such as the Tribest Green Star Pro, in which case the Nama actually made less yield. But I've also compared the Nama J2 against the Breville high-speed machine, in which case the Nama J2 made 40% more juice than the Breville. So my links down below to all the different comparison videos I've run so that you guys can be an informed and educated consumer and get the right and proper juicer that's going to best meet your needs, because everybody has different needs, and that's why I make all these many videos for you guys. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.